Yeah,
I only ever saw the first one.
Yeah, I only ever saw the first one, and that's like very clearly the one where it's like we're doing this with no budget, and it made $1 bajillion. And then it was like a blank check from then on to just crank one a year.
And they did.
Yeah. You know what else? You know who else cranks one a year?
Who's that?
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Pixel It. My name is Kevin. With me, as always, is Phil. On today's show, we are finishing up Jedi Fatal Alliance Knights of the Old Republic.
Jedi Republic Knights.
The Jedi Republic Knights, old-timey style. We had a deep conversation about Sydney Sweeney at the beginning of the episode, and if you want to hear that, you can go to the greatest website in the world, patreon.com/pixelitpod, where we offer 3 tiers. $1 gets you the ad-free episode, $5 gets you the bonus episode in front of every episode, and $10 gets your name shouted out in each episode. To that end, I want to thank Jesus Loves You, Kyle Seaman, Ruthless Modern, Middle of Things, Sigma Sal, Chet, Beaks, Dana, Thick, and Friendly Friend. Thank you so much for being a friend. Patreon.com/pixelitpod. Do it today.
Excellent. All right.
Excellent.
Well, you want to wrap this sucker up? You want to put this body in the marsh once and for all?
Put body in the marsh. Let's marsh it, marshies.
When I tell you to dump a body in the marsh, you dump them in the marsh.
Okay, marshies, listen up. We are on chapter 30. We're opening with Ulis. He is in a tight spot. He's kind of in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, because he basically has recognized that he doesn't know if he should admit that he is not in the Republic. Like he's a spy, and any information is going to get him fucked over by somebody. He's very certain he's not going to make it out alive at this point. And he's part of the group that is heading out to meet Stryver, because if you remember correctly, we left off with the Mandalorian calling them to the moon of the planet to come up with some sort of plan. So
they're going to have a sit down.
Have a little sit down to talk about what is to be done about these living droid things. So he's chosen to go with the group. He's not thrilled about it. Jet wishes him luck because, quote, you're the only one who will need it. Which is, I do enjoy his and Jet's relationship, because initially you can't imagine they have anything in common. But the more it goes on, you're like, oh, you're absolutely the same kind of dude. Right. So it's pretty funny. So Axe is going to be speaking to the Mandalorian on her master's behalf. Stryver points out that the colony below has grown exponentially despite only being 3 weeks old. These robots the droids, they are building like crazy. We do get a little moment where Axe notices that Stryver only has 4 fingers and is therefore probably not a human. So that sets her racism, Sith racism off. Space racism, which is gotta be one of the hardest kinds of racisms to maintain. Like
racism. That was an interesting little note. We're like, oh, only 4 fingers, not a and speaking of eugenics, it's like not a natural born Mandalorian.
Right. And I did do the research, and Mandalorians can be from other species.
That's actually the part of the. I mean, that's a big, not a big part. A part of the show, The Mandalorian,
which I've never watched, and I need to get on that.
The main character, played by Pedro Pascal, everybody's bedroom fantasy, Pedro Pascal.
God help us.
God help us. He is not a Mandalorian by birth. He is what's called a foundling. He was found by Mandalorians as basically just a kid who had no parents, and they're like, all right, come on.
So we get a little bit of those prejudices coming out. So Axe starts talking about a plan to kill they start talking about a plan to kill the human down on the inventor, Axe's mom. She starts talking about coming up with a plan because she clearly can't be reasoned with. To which the Mandalorian points out that she's already dead. And then says that if these, and this is absolutely the thing, like you totally fucking nailed it, because this is where he points out that if these droids are left unchecked, the self-replication process that they do would take over the galaxy within a generation.
This is Wilford Brimley looking at his computer model in the thing, and it's like, however, I forget how many weeks it predicts that it would
it'd take no time at all. That's exact. So you fucking
in like one
nailed
generation, basically one generation. It would take them to generation like 25 years or something like that. It would take to take over the galaxy.
So they basically have to destroy the planet. They have to glass parking lot that bitch. Ula comes up with the idea that he will negotiate, quote unquote, with Darth Kratos, but it has to be alone. No one else can be in there. There's no reason for me.
No reason at all. Just
you don't want to piss him off. Just leave me alone. I'll take care of it. And so he's sent out there with Axe, and he tells her and Darth Kratos who he is, and agrees to turn on the Republic when the droid threat has been taken care of and they're at their most vulnerable. They're gonna turn on the Republic. What a shock. He admits to his crush, Laren, on the ship, and Kratos uses that information to say, we will kill the shit out of her if you betray us on any level. Which brings us to part 5.
He's like, make your choice of what do you want if all this goes well. And he's like, oh, my girlfriend. And he's like,
this girlfriend.
You fool. That is your weak spot. We'll kill her if you fuck her. And it's
textbook, like, you fucking idiot. Like, it's like, thanks for telling me what you value most in the world.
In the world.
That's sad, by the way. Like, because they say, like, just name your heart's desire. And he's like, well, there's this hot girl I literally just met. It's like, that's it? That was your, wow.
Okay.
Like, that's bleak. That is bleak. That's pretty bleak. That brings us to part 5, the eponymous Fatal Alliance part, where we are going to get into the alliances that are fatal.
They're quite deadly.
They're deadly alliances. People going to die. Well, not as many as you'd expect, but people. Chapter 31, the Alliance, the Sith and the Jedi and the Mandalorian are all going to have to work together, and they plan on hitting what they assume to be the source of the Hex droids, this factory area, and they're going to also hit the HQ area, and those are both in 2 completely different places on the world, like continents apart. So they're going to have to come up with 2 teams to go in there and take care of it. They agreed to having Ula having the final authority, since he's the one who, as far as they know, he's part of the Republic, and he's also the one who negotiated with the Sith. So they're like, okay, he's kind of a neutral party, and he's really unsure how he's going to handle this. We get chapter 32. Laren kisses Shigar, and boy, howdy, is it awkward.
It is super awkward.
So awkward. It is a very, I told you I loved you like a brother loves a sister kind of moment. He's like, I'm a Jedi, and it's like virgin for life promise rings, right? Like
it's like vow of celibacy. I'm married to space god.
Right. Yeah. Married to Space Jesus Wizard. And that's it. So she, bless her heart, she is just not having a good time. Having a good time. No, if Ula's meant to be believed, she is smoking hot, and she's not used to having people, certainly not altar boys with swords, basically turn her down. So she's not feeling so good. And then to make matters worse, she meets the troopers that she's going to be leading into battle. And one of them is the shitty Zabrak guy who knew about her history.
Who was like Toxic Moxla.
Yeah. Like, what are the fucking odds? But he's going to be in the team. Cool. All right. That's great. So after that happens, Axe and Shigar get into it. He's pissed off. He's feeling awkward from the kiss thing. And they get into kind of not a scrap, but like they get into an argument, and he's clearly pissed off, and that turns her the fuck on. She is like, oh, you got some Sith behind those eyes, mama like that's
you got some
literally where
Sith
it goes.
Energy.
Yeah. And so that's an interesting twist. So yeah, the Jedi and the Sith are going to fight together, and what they do is they trade apprentices. Satale will take Axe, and Darth Kratos will take Shigar, so everyone knows, like, everyone be cool.
You know what it reminds me of is you never read The Godfather, right?
I never read it. No.
Okay, so because this doesn't happen in the movie, but basically, when there were like these like high stakes negotiations between two families, a third family would volunteer a guy as a hostage, and basically that guy would be, he would be held, and like if something happened and he was killed, it was like a hedge against anything happening at the meetup. Right. To kind of keep the stability so that the basically there wouldn't be an all-out war. It's like, hey, this guy's here. We don't want to drag third family into a fight, you know?
Yeah, or we're basically all dead.
Or basically all
prison.
dead.
Yeah.
So like the trading, it reminded me of like they trade apprentices of like, okay, well, you know, I'm not going to do anything. You're not, because you got my guy, and I'm not going to do a thing because you got your guy, you know.
And that's exactly it. And Shigar basically he's talking to his master Satale, and he's like, I don't. She's like, well, keep on your guard. You might have to deal with his bullshit. And he's like, I can't fight him off. Like he's a Sith master, and I'm just some Padawan, like, well, not Padawan, but he's like, you know, I'm not even a Jedi Knight yet. I can't fight him off. She's like, oh no, he's not going to kill you. He's got worse shit in store for you.
He's going to try to turn you into a Sith boy.
Exactly. And we've seen you get pissy just in this past chapter. So he recognizes that this is going to be a test. Chapter 33, Ula is in the Auriga fire with Jet. He's taking command. We just get a chapter with him working with Stryver. They're going to try and triangulate on the communication grid that the hexes use, because if they can follow that, they can figure out what the hell it is they're doing. Chapter 34, Laren and her squad are in transport. She takes an opportunity to make an example of the dickhead Zabrak. She's not going to take any shit. They essentially paratroop, like they fucking like jetpack parachute into their target while under fire. And she goes into a tailspin, and she is plummeting towards the ground. And the Zabrak, he does reach to help her, but there's a very distinct hesitation there, and it's enough of a hesitation that he misses her, and she drops like a stone. Chapter 35, Shigar's transport. He's transporting with Darth Kratos into the planet. They get hit by a bunch of hexes, and he and Darth Kratos fight their way through them. As I've always said in these books, there are actually some really kick-ass action scenes. Yes. They do. I'm not going to get into the details. I'm just, spoiler alert, this is a book you should read. This is a good book. So if you want some kick-ass Sith/Jedi team up, John Wick action, give this one a read. So while they're doing this, Darth Kratos is like lecturing him and tempting him and doing exactly what his master said he was going to do. He's doing the
Sith thing. He's doing like search your feelings, you know, to be true. You know,
right? Doing all the greats, all the
whole
hits,
song and dance. He's trotting them out.
Yeah.
You know,
oh, absolutely, and it's kind of working. He is absolutely getting Shigar's goat. He is, and that's gotta be a motherfucker when the first thing that you can do to get somebody off of the light side is just troll them. Yeah. Like that's so mean. Like that's just because the Jedi have got to like teach you to be altruistic and kind and patient and all like really hard things to master. And the Sith are just like, I'm not touching you. Does this bother you? I'm not touching you. Does this bother you? I'm not touching you. Does this bother you? Boom! You're on the dark side. That's a motherfucker.
So the path to the dark side is stop hitting yourself.
It's true. It starts with schoolyard bullying. It's such bullshit. It's
I'm not
so
hitting
unfair.
you. Why are you hitting yourself?
Yeah, stop hitting yourself, girly. It's all that shit. They end up jumping from the transport and heading towards the surface together in their own grav chutes. Chapter 36, we get another parallel scene, basically. Axe is landing on the planet with Satale. They have a similar situation. Satale's kind of trying to get through to Axe and it's kind of working, because she's poised and patient, and seemingly unafraid at all times, and Axe is kind of blown away by that. They fight their way into an S of hexes with a group of commandos. And once again, you can see the apprentices are both being a little shaped by the opposite one's master. They find evidence of geothermic drilling on the planet, and they are not sure what that's for. That would be for something really, really goddamn big. But they want to get rid of the site, and they've mentioned before that one of the transports is in just it's in a death drop on its way into the atmosphere. And they're like, what are we going to use to blow up this mining facility? And Master Satale is like, what about that? Let's, that giant spaceship, how are we aim that at them? And they do. And they have to get as far away as they possibly can. And they are running from all these waves of red lava that are coming after them. And the chapter ends with them on their way into falling straight into some of the lava, and that we get the cliffhanger. Glorious.
Floor is lava.
It's true. They're playing the floor is lava game, and just like the floor is lava game, eventually you go, oh wait, the floor actually isn't lava. Spoiler alert. For both the book and for life, the floor was actually lava. Chapter 37. Ula finds out that leading an attack and betraying his allies is complicated. He doesn't really know. He's promised to betray the Republic, but he's also like, how the fuck do I do this? Like, I can't be too nice to the Imperium, but I also have to do something. This is when Jet points out that they are very similar people, that they're basically both in it for themselves. They're scoundrels. So they end up, the chapter ends with them watching Stryfer flying away from the planet. And just shit is going down, and they're like, what the fuck is this Mandalorian guy doing? And just disappears. Chapter 38. Laren's still falling. Still going. She this is actually a very funny scene, in my opinion, because she's like jury rigging her grab chute, and she like gets it to, okay, all right, at least she's getting a featherfall spell on. Like, it's like, okay, this'll help. And then she runs out of fuel. It just drops again. And it's ridiculous.
It's amazing though, that Star Wars, it feels like every, sci-fi universe, like big sci-fi universe, like Halo, like Warhammer, and I didn't realize this till now, like Star Wars, they have their own version of the ODST, like it's like the Helldiver type thing where you're getting
the drop ship,
the drop ship. We're putting you in a tube and you're going down to the surface.
yeah, that's exactly it. And so this is their version of it, which is, as best as I can tell, just a backpack, essentially. But yeah, so she's still falling. She's ultimately saved by Hetchkey, who I realize now is someone we have not really given any focus to during this podcast. He's not that interesting of a character.
He's not that interesting a character. So he was one of the guys that was with, there was like the captain of the guard who was a character for a bit. He was just one of his dudes. He was basically the only other dude to survive Hutta. The Hutta mission.
So he's just, and he's been like promoted into a leadership role. It's like, well, you can clearly take care of your shit. So Hetchkey saves her, and she wonders how he knew to do it, and he says that the Zabrak Jop sent him, like gave him an alert. So we can see that this at least that guy might be a dick, but he's got his head on straight when it comes to being in a fucking war zone. Thank God. The troops regroup and fight their way to a structure that ends up being a balls huge ship, basically. Like a kind of ship that they've never seen before. It's got this huge dome top. They can't see any engines or boosters on it, and they're like, oh well, these guys, the way they fucking work, they might not need them. We do not know how their shit works. They're on top of it. It starts to take off, and the chapter ends with them getting ready to jump. Chapter 39, Shigar watches the base that he's basically in the distance, and he sees Master Satale and Axe in the distance. The kind of, it's this like maze building that they were in. It just gets swallowed up by the earth, and Darth Kratos suggests that maybe this is fate, because you just lost a master, I just lost an apprentice. Like he's swooping in right after the girl gets dumped. It's low class, but it often works. So that's basically what he's doing. He points out that Jedi kind of suck. He's like, your Republic is doing the same shit the Empire's doing. It's like, you talk about, and Shigar's only response is kind of babyish, elementary school, like, well, you guys are evil and that's why we fight you. It's literally the kind of that's the invective he has, and he's talking circles around him, basically saying, like, you guys are responsible for with your inaction, you're responsible for just as many deaths as the Sith are. We're just more honest about where we come from and that sort of thing. And it's like, not a bad point. He's not, Shigar is not happy about it. And it just finally gets his goat, and they start fighting. They get into a fight. And Shigar totally loses himself. He is furious. He's riding his rage like a Sith. And he is totally going dark side. And the whole thing, the only reason that it ends is his lightsaber explodes. They don't really get into the details, because he's getting force lightninged by Kratos, and I think that is ultimately what does it. But I like to imagine he was just so angry and he was squeezing the lightsaber so much that he just pops it like a water balloon. And the other reason that the fight stops is because they're like, oh, look at the ship the size of a county pushing its way out of the earth. So that kind of puts a damper on the little skirmish they were having. Chapter 40 opens up with Satale and Axe. They have fallen into what they assumed was lava, but it is actually this like weird red liquid. And there's actually a really cool moment where Sean Williams describes the sensation, because they're being sucked downwards in this red liquid, and he describes it as
Taco Bell medium sauce.
Right. I mean, kind of. He says they're zipping along like a red blood cell during a heart attack. And I was like, shit, that's pretty good. That's pretty good, good writing. So they're just getting, they finally end up in this area where they find this old ass Imperial ship. They take off their masks, and all they can smell is blood. Like, for all intents and purposes, all this red liquid's blood, as far as they can tell. So it's totally iron lung oceans of blood metal shit. It's pretty cool.
Oceans of blood.
Right.
When is that movie coming out? When is what's Markiplier
Was it just
doing
gonna
with that?
be like? I thought it was just gonna be like. It's like you told me, right? It's like a 10-minute movie, right? Like,
No, it's a feature film.
is it really? Okay, I don't know how they're gonna do that.
I mean, it's finished. I think. I think he might have been shopping it around, but I don't know.
Trying to get, probably. That's probably what it is. Trying to get someone to distribute it. So they find this ancient ass, well, not ancient, but a really old Imperial vessel, and they get inside and they realize that it's Lima Xandrit's ship. And it's kind of sterile at first, but they find an area that is like the living quarters that's hidden away, and it's filled with mementos of a life, like children were raised there. It's a very kind of warm environment in the middle of this sterile ship. And then they ultimately find a tank that's like a Bacta tank, but it's filled with more of that red blood liquid. And a woman who looks just like Axe kind of, presses against the glass and claims, "I am you." Like you.
Right.
Yeah. So we get chapter 41. We come back to Jet and Ula. They are watching the rise of a skyhook. That's also just been built by the droids, and the skyhook's basically like a port that for a ship to attach to get in or out of the atmosphere. And so they're watching this just watching a whole goddamn ship hangar, for all intents and purposes, just rise out of the earth. The Republic and the Empire both are kind of frozen. They're not doing anything. He's like, we got to blow that fucking thing up, because I think these fucking robots want to get out of town and give a generation or two and take over the galaxy.
And I think there's one thing to say to that. Do you think it wants to be a dog? It doesn't want to be a dog.
Doesn't want to be a dog. It wants to be us.
It wants to be us.
That's it. And they're basically just two different versions of him, like, panicking up there.
Yep.
And the Republic and the Empire are not willing to, like, really attack this thing because they will run out of ammunition, and they're afraid that the other side will blow them up when they've run out of ammunition.
Right. There's resources. It's funny because resources as a concept are not brought up that often in like Star Wars or Star Trek or any sci-fi thing. But in the face of, I think it's important to reestablish that there are resources, especially in a battle against just an endless machine factory of droids, like that. My blaster pistol's going to run out of charge.
Right. Yeah, exactly. This is an important situation to consider, that kind of thing. And they are, and it's it's the decision, the lack of the inability, or not even the inability, but the refusal to do anything is ultimately going to get everyone killed. Like Ula correctly points out, he's like, dude, you getting blown up by the Empire getting blown up by the Republic isn't going to matter if we let this, droid disease out into the galaxy. Right. So Jet basically admits that he can hack the vessels. Like, he's like, you got to pretend that you didn't see what I'm about to do. But he basically forces them to do the right thing. He takes over both vessels and forces them to start firing on the skyhook and everything like that. And we get a moment here with Ula where, again, he's kind of like, he's always playing the angle of what's in it for you, what's in it for me.
Right.
And he realizes with Jet, this is not an altruistic gesture. It is basically the surefirest way of him getting out alive. Right. So it just happens to be the right thing to do for everybody, really.
Right.
So let's see. Chapter 42. We've got, this is actually it's a really short but really good chapter where Laren and the Zabrak, who hated her, they find each other on the Skyhook. They both landed on the Skyhook, which has a billion missiles coming at it all at once. And so they just kind of go, okay. And they sit down and just go, all right, well, they make some comment about like, we're commandos, we're idiots. Most people watch fireworks from the other side of this. How stupid are we? It's terrific gallows humor.
Yeah.
And so they're basically like, okay, here we go. It's been nice. I'd love to say it's been nice knowing you, but I don't want to lie in my final moments.
Right.
We got to chapter 43. Satale and Axe have met. Axe's clone, Cynthia, her mother, after her daughter was kidnapped by the Sith, she made a clone of her, but keeps her in this tank, quote unquote, to keep her pure, because the red liquid suppresses any force powers that she could have.
Right. And it's like you start finding out that Lima Xandrit is a fucking lunatic.
Absolutely out of her mind. Yeah.
And Axe. You don't get to say this often. Probably better off with the Sith.
Probably, yeah, probably, yeah. She didn't. It was either become a Sith Rage Knight or like Carrie. Like
real
I can see your dirty pillows shit.
No more wire hangers stuff from Lima.
Yeah, and Lima, we will find out. She is dead, but her consciousness has basically been uploaded into the red liquid. So while submerged in it, this Cynthia clone, who breathes in the liquid, is what keeps her alive. She can hear her, and they have conversations, and they argue, and that sort of thing. We find out that basically the Hex droid's entire mission is to keep her safe. And because people are stupid and AI is stupid, the Hex droids take that mission and say, well, the most efficient, surefire way to keep her safe is to kill everybody else. And that's what happened. Yeah. That's exactly it. So because Xandrit wanted to keep her daughter safe, she's damned the existence of the universe because she didn't think to throw in like a PS, not at the expense of the whole galaxy, please. So that's what's happening right now, and they're trying to talk to her and explain to her like she's the only person that these droids will not attack, and they're like, dude, they're out there killing people, and she's like, they are, yeah, they're killing a bunch of people. She goes, well, they must have attacked them, and it's like, well, yeah, but we've got to, this is a liability. Like, so they're kind of arguing over, how to handle this. And it's made more difficult by the fact that Cynthia is really isolated and she knows nothing about the outside world. She doesn't know the Republic. She doesn't know the Empire. She doesn't know anything about what's going on. But she does. Sorry?
No, she doesn't.
Yeah. Okay. But she does have like a sense of empathy for them. And she's kind of arguing with her mom, with her ghost mom, saying, I want to help them. And then she's like, no, don't join them. It's just, they're all going to laugh at you. They're all going to laugh at you. That kind of thing. And finally, because it becomes clear that Cynthia's got her mind made up, she's going to help them. The liquid like starts to choke her. Like Mommy Dearest tries to kill her to avoid her ending up with the Sith and the Jedi, which to echo what Kevin just said, probably better off for the Sith ultimately.
Yeah, ultimately.
Because the Sith will kill you, but they'll teach you some cool shit first. Like
you get to throw force lightning. It's a somewhat fulfilling life, I guess, as opposed to sitting in goo.
I agree. I would prefer that unless the goo had an internet connection. That might be better. It's
basically the mood slime from Ghostbusters 2.
That's exactly what it is. If you could breathe the mood slime, that's what she's in. And while this happens, the tank gets blown up by Axe, who's talking about like she's like it looked like she was dying. She panicked and wanted to release her. Unfortunately, the clone doesn't breathe oxygen. She breathes through the red gooey liquid stuff, and so she's dying like a fish outside of the bowl, essentially. The clone makes her promise to save the genetic code that contains she and her mother's collective memory, and hints at like a password basically, and dies. And we get a very brief but fascinating moment where Axe is like, was this fratricide, suicide? What, I killed myself, kind of? Like, what exactly is this? What if we're gonna get
How do I
pedantic?
qualify this?
Right? Yeah. What is this? So Axe goes to the this gene machine basically, and she gets her blood recognized by it, and so like, okay, theoretically, the droids should be cool with me now. And so it's like there's literally only one way to find out. So they head out to see if their gene tampering worked. So chapter 45, Laren and Zabrak are riding the Skyhook down because suddenly, out of nowhere, all of the hexes who are supporting the Skyhook and all this other shit, they, for all intents and purposes, have turned off. And there's a really good description where he says something like, instead of them acting as a single unit, they are now surrounded like by a million individual things all falling like separately, which I thought was a really interesting way of putting it. So Laren uses these passive bodies of the hexes to kind of like hopscotch her way off of the Skyhook and onto the ground floor, where she finds Shigar and Darth Kratos, hugs all around. And then another thing emerges from underground. This is the old Imperial ship that belonged to Xandrit that Axe and Satale are on board, and it rises up, and they come outside there. They create like a walkway of hex bots to walk down. It's pretty hilarious. So clearly it's working. Right. And Axe doesn't request, tells Darth Kratos, I am releasing myself from you. I'm not working with you anymore. You're an asshole. Fuck you. Yeah. Because this whole thing has made her realize how much she's being used and that this isn't fully what she's looking for. Right. Basically, the way I took it was kind of like, if you're gonna be a Sith, you don't want to be the apprentice to kind of a shitty weenie Sith. You gotta go hard, and Kratos ain't it. So
he is not it. He sucks.
He sucks. It's not great for a lot of reasons, really. So she and Kratos get into a big old fight, and Axe is just using waves of the droids to shield her and fight against him, that sort of thing. While this happens, a rescue ship kind of comes down and goes, we're getting the shit out of here. Marines, we are leaving. And they hop in there. We find out that Jet kicks Ula, who is now in the rescue ship. But we find out through flashbacks that Jet, after it was all done, was like, you got to get the fuck out of here, and kicks him out like a one night stand, and gets out of Dodge. And fortunately, the rescue ship found him. And you get a lot of respect to him from Ula. Ula's like, God, that guy was an asshole, but he was all right. Like he's just like the Sith and the Jedi are kind of getting perspectives from each other. Ula is getting this kind of scoundrel perspective from him, where it's like, oh, I don't have to be one or the other. Like I can be kind of in the middle, not necessarily out for myself, but like I don't have to do. There's a lot of gray, is the point. So let's see. All right. So Axe is using the hexes to destroy what's left of the facilities. She's like, yeah, fuck this. I'm just ending this.
Tear it down.
Yeah. Yep. Let's tear it all down. And she stays as long as she can, and leaves before everything completely goes to shit. And that brings us to part 6, preparations for war. Chapter 46, we cut forward to Laren being debriefed by Supreme Commander Stantors back on Coruscant. So basically, we find out that the Empire and the Republic came in and reinforced their teams and collected their shit and left. That's like they took their balls and went home. They're like, okay, let's get out of here before this Cold War gets any warmer. This barely worked. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Good game. I'm going home.
Exactly, going home. Not worth it. You are not worth the crabs. They don't know where the Mandalorian is. No one does. But the Supreme Commander lets Laren know they are forming a new Special Forces team, and she's going to be leading it. He knows about her history and getting in trouble and all that stuff, and he goes, we'll whitewash that a little bit, give you some commendations. You did a real good job with this, and no one will give a shit. So she basically gives her old job back, and then some. So Ula has basically been demoted to data collection over this whole thing. And he's kind of okay with it. Like, he's like, I'm fine with that.
I'm fine being out of the spotlight.
Yeah, that's just not for me. And we do get some kind of sparks between the two of them, which, Laren, honey, you just got turned down by a Jedi. You can give yourself a minute.
You don't need to go to Ula just because.
You got know your value, sweetheart. You're okay.
Other age-appropriate guy in the vicinity,
right? It's bad enough when people settle for someone beneath them in a state or in a country, but if there's a whole galaxy of multiple planets out there, there's somebody else. You can wait a minute. You'll be fine.
Right.
Anyway, speaking of which. She goes off to meet with Shigar. They have another awkward but kind of nice moment where they both essentially thank each other for their help because she provided him with backup that he couldn't possibly have done without, and he basically helped her get her life back. And so we have a nice moment. She has a moment where she recognizes that there's still some anger behind his eyes. We get some hints that there's
a little Sithy still.
There's a little Sithiness there, but ultimately they leave each other and quote they don't look back. Chapter 47. Ula waits for a call from the Empire at his now shabby looking apartment. He realizes he looks at his apartment and goes, this place does kind of suck. Maybe I should get like a headboard or something like that instead of sleeping on a mattress. So he's waiting. He gets his contact. He gives him the whole story, but leaves out certain details. And Kratos is dead. He died on the planet, so he's basically able to blame everything on Kratos, which means that it'll take the heat off of Jet. It'll take the heat off of a lot of people, and so. You can't really punish the people who are already dead. So that's really just the most convenient thing to do. After that, he gets a phone call from the Master of Logistics, which was like the old friend of his that they'd come up in the academy together. And now she's the Minister of Logistics. And he tells her, he kind of lies to her. He says, because their whole thing was that they believed that the Sith didn't need to be a part of the Empire. And he, it's not a lie, but he basically says, he's like, you know what? I've changed my mind. I've had a change of heart. I do now that I've worked with the Sith. They're pretty cool. And I want to work with them, which is not the truth, but it's going to basically mean that she's not going to contact him anymore. He's basically burning the bridge, because his whole thing now, he believes that cultures should, he's in between. He believes that there should be logic and thought, but it should have emotion and passion and that sort of thing. So he's basically I'm going to stay a spy, but I'm going to kind of work them against each other and try to do the right thing. He's basically going to be Varys from Game of Thrones.
He's like, it's like, instead of, he's not going to be, what's his name? He's not going to be Littlefinger, who is like, I'm working all the angles to get out on top. He's going to be Varys, who is like, I'm working all the angles because somebody needs to think of the regular people in the world.
and that's exactly where he is. So it's like honestly, out of all the people in this book, he kind of gets the best message as far as I'm concerned. He makes the biggest change into probably the best person of everybody.
Right.
So it's clear he's going to have to play both sides. But you're right, Kevin. He's just going to he's doing it for the sake of the people. Yep. Chapter 48, Shigar's training as a knight is going forward. He's proven himself. If you remember at the beginning of the book, they said, you're not there yet. So they're going to push him forward. He has a moment where he talks to the Jedi Council and tries to convince them that we need to hit the Sith now. We have to do a preemptive strike. And that's just not the Jedi way. He's like, he starts kind of like not dark side, but kind of George W. In the early 2000s preemptive strike kind of shit. And most of the Jedi give him kind of the calm your tits, kid kind of answer, which you'd expect. But there's one Jedi in particular who he's a character in the Old Republic, and he's kind of the head of the Defense Council there. He's a true military guy, and he clearly agrees with him. But he has to keep himself. He kind of shuts up because he doesn't need to be too conspicuous about that. Right. So Shigar, by the end of this chapter, has a realization that he also is going to have to bend the rules. Basically, that for all of their talk about peace and calm and being a Jedi master and all that stuff, that he's still going to find himself in real world situations where he's just going to have to do what he needs to do. And that there's going to be a lot of gray in there. He's still on the light side of the Force, but he's also thinking, okay, when I move up a little more, I'm going to go find that Jedi who clearly agreed with me. And he's going to be a light side Jedi, but he's going to be a pretty militant one. That's right. What's clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's more like a Mace Windu. Kind of guy.
Purple lightsaber kind of shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And chapter 49, my favorite chapter in the entire book, by the way. This is Axe has been invited to Darth Howl's hunting grounds. Darth Howl being a member of the Sith Council who she met briefly, who has sharpened his teeth. And it's
amazing. This chapter's amazing because it's like, I just imagine like he's sitting there in like a plaid like hunting jacket and cap, like looking like Dick Cheney.
Yeah. Like hunting lodge shit with like a broken shotgun over his arm,
Yeah.
And so they're having a conversation and Darth Howl is like basically trying to, his assumption, he's like, oh, you killed your master, you know, and I killed my master. I did the same thing. So how did you do it? Like he's trying to kind of needle into telling him a little bit more information. While they're having this conversation, they are every now and then leaning over this balcony, looking into this jungle area and shooting these creatures. We never find out what they are specifically, but they're these fluffy, cute, you get the impression they're really cute kind of rodent things. And they're just like blowing them to fucking kingdom come with these laser guns while they're having this conversation.
Annihilating them. There's nothing left when they're
no
done.
No sport. Yeah, exactly. There's just like a bit of ash, but when they're finished. And he tells her ultimately that he's going to take her on as his apprentice. And because but kind of warns her, he's like, my last apprentice really disappointed me. And she's like, well, what did she do? And he goes, she liked keeping pets. And so now as punishment, she actually has a view of this. And basically the implications, all these little fluffy things were animals that she really loved and was always working. And so he forces his old apprentice to watch him killing all of these fluffy animals that she loves so much. It's really fucked up, but I laughed my ass off. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Finally, we get to the epilogue. Jet meets Stryver in a cantina in Tatooine. He tells Stryver that he knows that Stryver is a Gectal, and a female at that. And Gectals are kind of a bipedal lizard race. To the point with also having detachable tails, the way that a lot of skinks and different kind of lizards can detach their tails. He even says at some point, he's like, so do you keep trimming your tail down to fit into the Mandalorian outfit, or have you had it like permanently removed? Or, she doesn't answer. So Jet has a hunch, and he's correct as it turns out, that Stryver has basically orchestrated this whole thing, all of it, everything from the release of the hexes to the Hutts trying to collect it and make some money. She has totally orchestrated the whole thing, all in the name of finding out between the Republic and the Empire who is better on their feet, who should we be more concerned about, and who should we ally ourselves with ultimately when and if all this comes to war. The whole thing wasn't even about these droids or anything like that. It was about the Mandalorian getting a look at how these two gigantic armies would deal with this situation, and who she believes is better, would be a better support to the Mandalorians in the long run. And also just to keep them fighting amongst themselves, because as long as the Republic and the Sith are fighting, they're not focusing on the Mandalorians. This will not last, as the history books will tell you. But for the time being, it's working out for them. It turns out that Jet's droid Clunker is like god tier powerful, because that's why he was able to basically take over those ships, because Clunker is just this broken droid that happens to have these moments of complete, again, god level power. But the problem is Clunker resets itself every few days, so it has no memory. It has no long-term anything. Its motivation.
It only remembers him, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And so he's the only person that won't try to fuck over. The Mandalorian clearly wants Clunker out of the picture, is not comfortable with that level of power in the droid's hands. And also it lets slip that she knows Jet Nebula's real name, which is Jeek Karen, which on one hand, way more of a standard Star Wars name.
Yep.
Not as good as Jet Nebula.
Not as good as Jet Nebula.
I came around to it. I think a lot of people did. So the Mandalorian and Stryver attempts to take out Clunker, and is basically has herself taken out by 4 or 5 different patrons of the bar, and she wakes up. She didn't die. She just got basically stunned. The bar has not changed any at all, except that Jet and Clunker are gone, and everyone's kind of giving her a side eye. And she realizes, because she's been stalking Jet, and he keeps coming into this bar, and that while he wasn't just coming into that bar to get drunk. He was basically paying everyone off and saying, "Hey, some shit might happen, and if that happens, you're going to want to help the guy who's been buying all your drinks and shit, right?" So that was. So she's and she has this really, oh, that's good. That's a worthy opponent moment, because he's just as he's not the simple scoundrel that he appears to be. He's always planning ahead too.
Yeah.
So she's happy to have a worthy adversary, and she is going to kind of chase him down as best as she can, but ultimately go back to Mandalore with her findings, and then who knows? And that is how the book ends. So that is The Old Republic, Star Wars, The Old Republic, Fatal Alliances. Kevin, what did you think?
Hey, I really like the last few, the action of the second to last segment, and just kind of the whole, it really landed the plane well. You got to the title concept, the Fatal Alliance, because you got to hit a hint of it on Hutta, where they kind of had to work together to get out of things.
Right.
And it still kind of retained a little bit of twists and turns, where Jet, for example, where it's he's a Han Solo smuggler type, and it's oh, he's actually a lot more crafty and or dangerous than he's ever letting on. And he also has this robot that is probably as powerful not as powerful as the hexes, but in terms of like doing damage to things, he can really fuck some shit up, because
Absolutely.
Clunker is able to remotely hack both Imperial and Republic ships and control them from a distance. Like, that's a big deal. Like,
that's a lot of power. That's
R2, for example, R2D2 barely was able to turn off the garbage mashers on the detention level in time.
Where could he be?
Where could he be? And that was a direct connection. He was plugged in.
Yeah.
That wasn't a wireless. He wasn't doing Wi-Fi. He was doing an Ethernet connection to get in there.
And this is a droid that is thousands of years older.
Yeah.
On top of everything else.
Yeah. You know what? Star Wars kind of strikes me as a universe where like the technology stagnated.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a Warhammer thing to that too, like where it's like
where
the
it basically got to it kind of got to a point and then it stopped. And so anything that is beyond where it stagnated, like the hex droids, is suddenly an existential threat, you know? So you got like the hex droids, and then you can go forward to like the Death Star in the original trilogy, you know, things like that, where it's like suddenly, oh, this really upsets the apple cart. So I think it's a fun book. Lot of fun characters. Had a good time with it.
Yeah, me too. I agree. I was impressed with how well crafted it all ultimately was. Like you said, Jet ends up being a more dangerous character than you expect. I was actually kind of getting annoyed because the whole Mandalorian thing the Mandalorian just kind of disappears and we don't wrap that up. And I was like, what the fuck are we doing? That was, the Mandalorian was this huge part of the book for a while, and then they just disappear. That's kind of a loose end. But then when we get the explanation, it does not disappoint, and it's really interesting. And it's a very meaty kind of explanation, rather than just kind of a hand wavy thing. So yeah, same. I was impressed with this. I think I want to keep reading these as we go. The rest of them was good. And I think we've read works by the other people who wrote these. So there's
so what's the next one?
The next one I think is, hold on. Oh boy, I was just looking this up. It's another Sith heavy one, as I recall.
I know one of them is called Revan.
No, Revan's the third one, and I've actually read that one years ago.
Oh, okay.
That's a third one. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I want to keep. I want to keep reading these. They're pretty good. And it's nice to have a double dip of a video game and also like one of the most popular franchises ever.
Deceived is the
Deceived. Okay.
Deceived, yeah. And then it goes Revan by Drew Karpyshyn. And there's another one called Annihilation.
I think that
which is also by Drew.
Yeah.
So there are 4 novels and 3 short stories.
Yes. So yeah, I'm happy with this one. So now that we have wrapped another, and this is a big one, we wrapped another epic one up. Kevin, I've got one question left for you.
Yes.
Oh, what are you playing?
Oh, okay. I'm still playing a few games. So I actually started playing The King is Watching.
Nice. Yeah.
It's a fun game. It's got a lot of weird elements that just make it different enough from other games in the genre to keep you playing. Like, try to maximize the like, okay, I'm setting things up like this so that when I am hovering over with my gaze or whatever, that it's producing in the right way.
Yeah.
And I nearly 1, beat the final boss of the first king that you get. Like first king, level 0, dangerousness or something. I nearly beat the final boss. I was like, he had like 13 hit points left, and then he destroyed he like hit my wall and destroyed it. And I was like trying to like, I was like trying to get an archer or something, just like somebody, just one thing left, and I lost. And I was like, I haven't played since then, just because
understandable. I get it.
I was like, fuck you, game.
It's tough. It's a tough. I will say that when you get over that first hurdle, that first level 0, you start kind of rolling down the hill a little more because you can get some upgrades and stuff like that. But,
sure.
It does. Yeah. It is a tough start.
Yeah, I've been putting things into the upgrade tree a little bit, like starting with wine.
That's helpful.
Because that gives a little buff to your soldiers while they are in combat. Stuff like that. So I'm playing it, and it's good. Did I talk about when did I? Let's see. Did I talk about the Drifter?
No.
Okay. The Drifter is I beat it after we recorded. Okay, so the Drifter is a point and click horror / thriller
you did mention
game.
it, but you just started it. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. I beat it. It is absolutely amazing. Nice. Gotta say, you gotta check this out. It is probably one of, if not the best voice acted point and click games that I have ever played.
Wow.
It's got a neat story that you don't know where it's going as you're going through it. And there is limited moon logic in the game. A lot of the solutions are not. It's not that they're obvious. It's just if you're thinking, like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense. It's not like use the rubber chicken with the pulley in the middle.
Right. Right.
I say that, and that's not even the most moon logic-y thing in Monkey Island.
Right.
Oh. But no, the Drifter, gorgeous pixel art, amazing voice acting. It's got a really, it's got a story that has something to say about grief, both grief and letting go of that grief. I can't recommend it enough. It took me about 7 hours to beat. I know some people take longer, and I might go back and do another run just to kind of like get the achievements on it.
Sure.
But yeah, the Drifter, great game.
It's really good. And I mean, the fact is, I would say, you are probably, in my life, my authority on point and click games. Like, you know that shit better than anyone I know. And so for you to say, offer such high praise to it, I was like, oh shit, this must be good.
Yeah, it's a good game. What else am I playing? Wordplay. I got back into a little bit of Wordplay. The Game Maker's Toolkit, Mark Brown's game that he released earlier this month. It's a fun game to play when it works on, play on the Steam Deck and you're just sitting there doing your boggle stuff, figuring out words. He Is Coming. I finally beat the first level of He Is Coming. I will say one of the things that holds me back from like fully recommending He Is Coming is that it feels like it's one of those games where as you discover more things, as you hit more achievements, it unlocks more weapons and armor and stuff like that. But it's sort of like a Vampire Survivors situation where you start that just decreases the odds of you getting the thing that you want to get necessarily, because now every time you pick up a treasure chest, the odds, it's like you choose one of three things, right? But now there are more options in the pool for it to pull from. So if you're trying to get a specific build, it becomes less likely as you play more and more of the game, which is something that happens in Vampire Survivors. That being said, Vampire Survivors does a lot of things to mitigate that. You choose a character with a specific starting weapon. You're like, I want to do this kind of build, so I can pick the guy. I want to do the garlic again. So I pick Poe. Like, hey, my boy Poe, he's slow, but he knows what's up. So there isn't any of that, and he is coming. So it's still in early access. So I wonder if that is something that might be considered as you go through. Because it took me 8 hours to beat the woodland area just by playing over and over and over again.
I really wish this would be a mobile game. I feel like I'd really haul ass through it if it was a mobile game.
You're just sitting there on your phone or whatever.
Right.
It would really it would work as a mobile game. But yeah, so he is coming. Played it more. Still like it, but it's one of those, it can't really land on my recommended list quite yet, just because I feel like there's some balancey things that need balance, and there's like an early game boredom, I guess, that you can kind of run into, where if you're okay, and I think that's something with all of these auto battler games, where if you're okay, just kind of like, you're just sitting there listening to a podcast, just fucking doing your thing, that's fine, but it doesn't have the stickiness necessarily quite yet of, say, a Vampire Survivors, or and even Vampire Survivors has, you're more active in what you're doing in Vampire Survivors than you are in He Is Coming.
Right.
It doesn't have the second level of like a loop hero, where you're doing the strategy to build out you're rebuilding things, and that's also part, like, the survivor camp. So there's something missing. I started playing Lies of P again because I bought the DLC, and I just want to get into that and see what the deal is with that. And Rogue Trader, still playing Rogue Trader. Of course, I'm never not playing Rogue Trader, technically.
I think that's also the situation with me.
It's always kind of there.
I've been kind of like doing it where I've been playing it. I'll like play an adventure. I'll have like a session.
Sure.
And put it away and go do something else and everything. And I kind of love that. I feel like I could make the game last forever at that rate.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. I'm like, I'm going to go to this planet and do a quest,
That's exactly it. Like I get to a new planet and I scan a few things, and there's usually one quick adventure or something like that. And I can hop in there and do that in less than an hour, and then I give it a break. And I'm the same way. I've really been, it's just kind of always there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Phil, what are you playing?
Oh, I actually, interestingly enough, been playing a lot of Slay the Spire, which I never played when it was new. I got it on my phone. And while I'm working and that sort of thing, I'll just have it on and be able to kind of slowly go through it. It's really good for that. I've always had Marble Snap and that sort of thing for that sort of thing, but I've started to realize that it's just not in my best interest to have a game where there's another player. Because it's just inevitably.
You don't want them. Yeah. No, I get it.
It's rude at best and like completely fucks me over at worst. And so I was like, I need to find a good like one player game, single player game that I can just have in the background and enjoy. And that's it's very, very good for that. It makes me think of those old browser games. Like, it makes me think of a game you'd play on Newgrounds or something like that in the early thousands.
And I think it was weird because I was always like, I would look at Slay the Spire and I was like, I feel like the art style is a little cheap. But now that you say it's like a Newgrounds game, you're like, yes, that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah. It looks kind of like ass, but who gives a shit? And
sure.
it is what it is. It does it pretty well. It's got a good loop, and I'm enjoying it. It's a nice game to have in the background while you get other shit done. I like that. I played a demo for No, I'm Not a Human.
I think I've heard of this.
I think briefly this was like a lot of people were playing it on TikTok and shit like that. It makes me think a whole lot of Don't Look Outside. The plot line's fairly similar. Something's wrong with the sun and you can't go out except for at night. And there are imposters out there. And the whole loop of the game is that you're answering the door and deciding whether or not people should be allowed to stay at your place. And every day that goes by, the TV or the radio or something like that gives you another thing to look out for, another sign that they might be an imposter.
Sure.
The problem is they're all very mundane things. They have perfectly straight teeth and they have dirt under their fingernails. And I just went whole hog into it and ended up killing anybody who had any of the things wrong with them. And it was very clever. You're in the summer. It's the whole game's in the summer, or in the demo, you're in the summer, and you'll find things and it'll say, well, this will be valuable in the fall. Better hold on to this for the fall. And then I find out the full game's releasing in the fall, and that's what they're talking about. It's content that it was I just thought that was really clever and cute. Yeah. It's very unsettling. I kept waiting for something to jump scare me. It never did, but the camera is just a little too close to your face. It's a first person and everything's just a little too in your face. It's very effective.
I'm looking at the artwork, and what's funny is the guy in the main, the key art, right? He's got no shirt on and he's got a huge smile ish.
Yeah.
His eyes are kind of rolled back.
He's what got me to play the game. That was it's upsetting.
So there is there's a picture of Judge Holden, like an artwork of Judge Holden.
I know exactly what you're talking. Yes.
You know exactly.
I know exactly the one you're talking about.
I'm talking about is basically that. And I was I was like, because I remember seeing the picture and I'm like, where have I seen this art before? Or this picture, or it has this game. Is this game where it's like, I thought this game already came out or whatever. And then it's like, I'm thinking of literally the Judge Holden picture of it's just like a little bit too low, looking up at him.
The smile's a little too big.
The smile's a little too big.
Yeah.
It's very creepy looking.
And the rest of the artwork I don't quite ever reach that level.
Right.
But it's an unsettling style of artwork. The music is very simple and it made me think of not in the content of it, but it made me think of Balatro, where it's the same kind of loop of music over and over, and you don't get sick of it somehow. But it's a very unsettling musical theme and very strange and spooky. The atmosphere you could cut with a knife. It's very impressively done. The writing is good. The satire aspects of it are good. I'd take it back. There were a couple of overtly scary things that happened, but for the most part, it's just very paranoid and atmospheric. Like I said, it made me think of Don't Look Outside because it has a similar inciting incident and like basic plotline. But I think the similarities kind of end there because they're very different styles of game, and this is a lot more subtle. Whereas Don't Look Outside is very over the top in what it's trying to do, and that's great. This one is way more subtle and very skin crawly, and I can say for a fact that I'm going to play this when it comes out in the fall. This is. Did you beat
Look Outside?
No, I keep telling myself I'm going to get back to it. I reached a point where I wasn't sure what to do, and I just kind of let it go. And I need to. I do want to beat it before the end of the year.
There are, that it can be tough because it does have some there is a meta puzzle that you're trying to solve.
Yeah, and I reached a point.
Beat the game. Yeah,
I was never out of things to do.
Oh, there's so much in the game to do. You'll never run out of things. But there's specific things that you're trying to do that can be tough to figure out.
I couldn't help but wonder, I don't know if I'm moving forward. I think that's one disadvantage the game has. It's hard to say how much of this I'm just floating in this weird world or how much of it I'm just it's just fucking the actual road that I need to be on to beat it. Yeah. But I do want to I want to start over on it and give it another go. Because that is a worthwhile game. That game is fucking excellent. But yeah, that is me too. Awesome. So pretty good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, great stuff. That'll do it for tonight's episode. Thank you all so much for listening. Go ahead and follow us on social media, Blue Sky, Instagram, the TikToks, and jump into our Discord. You can find the link through our Patreon, patreon.com/pixelatpod. Phil, would you rather have a space marine the size of a Goomba or a Goomba the size of a space marine?
Is this to fight or someone who's backing me up?
To fight.
Oh, to fight. Okay. All right. I know this isn't going to make sense at first, but I'm going to fight the Goomba the size of a space marine. And I know that sounds like the less logical answer. But it all makes a lot of sense once you realize that the breed of mushroom